When I ask the class I teach, how many of you can cook a better hamburger than McDonald's? Almost all the students raise their hands. I then ask, so if most of you can cook a better hamburger, how come McDonald's makes more money than you? Good morning and welcome to an Australia Day version of the reading for today. Yes, we're going to be reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad as per usual. I'm looking forward to getting into it, even though it is officially a public holiday here. So I know that you've probably got things to go and do, face paint to put on, places to go, things to do. So we'll get straight into the reading. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if I can remember where we finished off. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're on this section here. When I ask the class I teach, how many of you can cook a better hamburger than McDonald's? Almost all the students raise their hands. I then ask, so if most of you can cook a better hamburger, how come McDonald's makes more money than you? The answer is obvious. McDonald's is excellent at business systems. The reason so many talented people are poor is because they focus on building a better hamburger and know little to nothing about business systems. A friend of mine in Hawaii is a great artist. He makes a sizable amount of money. One day his mother's attorney called to tell him that she had left him $35,000. That is what was left of her estate after the attorney and the government took their share. Immediately, he saw an opportunity to increase his business by using some of this money to advertise. 2 months later, his first four-color, full-page ad appeared in an expensive magazine that targeted the very rich. The ad ran for 3 months. He received no replies from the ad, and all of his inheritance is now gone. He now wants to sue the magazine for misrepresentation. This is a common case of someone who can build a beautiful hamburger, but knows little about business. When I asked him what he learned, his only reply was, advertising salespeople are crooks. I then asked him if he would be willing to take a course in sales and a course in direct marketing. His reply, I don't have the time, and I don't want to waste my money. It's very ironic, isn't it? The world is, but it's interesting because it's very easy to see when you're on the other side, when you are in the emotion, when you are in that business moment, when you are in the middle of it, you can't often see what other people can see so clearly. And your mind is closed off to listening to other people. So it's very ironic. It's easy to see when you are reading it in a book, but when you are actually in that emotion as a business owner, it is a very different story. So it's important to learn that lesson before you get into the business in the first place. The world is filled with talented poor people. All too often, they're poor or struggle financially or earn less than they are capable of, not because of what they know, but because of what they do not know. They focus on performing their skill at building a better hamburger rather than the skill of selling and delivering the hamburger. Maybe McDonald's does not make the best hamburger, but they are the best at selling and delivering a basic, average burger. The other interesting thing is that in life, there are rules. There are laws. If I climb to the top of a building and jump off, if the building is tall enough, I will not survive because gravity will pull me down and the force will be so great that my brains will be splattered across the floor. And the same thing applies to everything in life. If you are looking for a partner in life, if you don't follow the rules of nature, if you look at animals, they clean their feathers and they have these beautiful colors and they do a certain kind of dance. And if they follow the rules, if they follow their instinct, which unfortunately humans have lost a little bit, if they follow that instinct, then those strategies work. If you are a bird and you don't preen yourself and you happen to be less colorful than the other birds and you don't do the right dance moves, you're not going to get the female. Or vice versa, if you believe in equality in that sense. But the point being is that everything has rules. Nature has rules. If you want to have good communication with somebody, you have to follow the rules of communication. If you come across as creepy, or if you come across as aloof, or if you come across as arrogant, then people are not likely, unless the situation is correct for that kind of situation. So let's say that you are much more successful than somebody else. you can be a little bit arrogant and people might look up to you. So it depends on the role that you're playing in that moment. But generally speaking, for most of us, unless we've achieved a certain status or achieved certain things, we need to follow the rules. We need to be agreeable. We need to be likable. We need to speak in a certain way so that people are actually interested in listening to us. If you're able to follow those rules, if you're able to do what nature intended, if you learn the psychology. So I love reading and learning about psychology so that I can make adjustments to what I am doing so that I'm following the rules of nature. And for business, it is the same thing. If you understand the way in which you're able to convince people and sell to people, if you understand the rules of finance and how you can use the numbers to make better decisions, if you can learn to be able to market and get a message across and let people understand what it is that the benefits are for them, then you're going to be able to be successful. If you understand the psychology of the stock market and why people do certain things, so why everybody jumps on a certain stock at the same time, why people sell at the same time. If you can understand all of these different things, the housing market, why a certain area is growing, why another area is not popular with renters, for example, or why people are not moving into a certain area. If you can understand those principles, then you can be a lot more successful. So we can say, oh, I know this, I know that, and keep doing it the way that we've always done it. Or we can make adjustments. We can learn the different strategies in order to be able to follow the rules that nature has given us, because you don't climb to the top of a building and then jump off. We instinctually know that we shouldn't be doing that. And we need to do the same thing with everything else that we want to achieve in life. We can achieve success in just about any area of life, but we need to find somebody who's able to figure out how to do it. And then if we use the same method, if we learn from those people, they are obviously following the rules, because if you're following the rules, then you're going to be able to find success. Mladen on the Zoom has just mentioned, we need to be truthful, not likable. Likable, not say truth all the time. Yes and no. So it is good to be truthful, absolutely. But sometimes being likable gets you the result, whereas being truthful does not get you the result. So if I want to, so for example, not a very good example, but absolutely an example. If I am starting a business and I have some products to sell, and I'm not able to sell them because I chose the wrong products, that could be my financial downfall. But I could also find people who possibly need those products, but because I haven't been successful, they are not interested because they can't see the momentum of that success. Then I can follow the rules of likability to be able to still sell those products so I don't financially ruin myself. And then I can make adjustments in order to be able to do some research, find out what people actually want, and then sell it from a truthful point of view. So yes, I agree, it's very important to be truthful, and I wish everybody would be truthful all the time. But to get the result, sometimes being likable is actually a little bit more important. But if you can combine both, that would be really, really good. Yes, it is absolutely the case that some people can be untruthful and be very successful with that. Con artists spend their life perfecting the art of being very good at being likable, but not being truthful, and being able to do it in a way that people can't tell. Whereas for most of us, if we are lying, most people can tell from a very, very big distance that we are lying. So it's much better to be truthful. Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look. Poor Dad wanted me to specialize. That was his view on how to be paid more. Even after being told by the governor of Hawaii that he could no longer work in state government, my educated dad continued to encourage me to get specialized. Educated Dan then took up the course of the teachers union, campaigning for further protection and benefits for those highly skilled and educated professionals. We argued often, but I know he never agreed that over specialization is what caused the need for union protection. He never understood that the more specialized you become, the more you are trapped and dependent on that specialty. Rich Dad advised that Mike and I groom ourselves. Many corporations do the same thing. They find a young, bright student just out of business school and begin grooming that person to someday take over the company. So these bright young employees do not specialize in one department. They are moved from department to department to learn all the aspects of business systems. The rich often groom their children or the children of others. By doing so, their children gain an overall knowledge of the operations of the business and how the various departments interrelate. So we will leave it at that. That was a very interesting part of that chapter, and we had a really good discussion, and I appreciate Mladen, who has mentioned some things that he also believes in and that he wanted to share with me and you. There's been a couple of hearts and different other things that have come up on a BIGO as well at the same time. I will get back to you in just a moment. But for now, if you would like to get my commentary and my reading of the rest of what we've read so far, you can find them all at the Passive Cashflow Club on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. There are lots of other great videos there. Another book that we read, and we have some new ones coming up. So make sure you hit subscribe so that you're notified of when new videos come up. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad always talks about, well, Robert Kiyosaki always talks about cash flow, and we've mentioned it many times. If you'd like to join us for cash flow and actually start putting the book into action, then you can reach out on Instagram. You'll find me at business_team_6_official. Send me a message. Have a look at what I'm up to on Instagram and the kinds of things that I post. And if you'd like to come to Cashflow, just send me a personal message and I will get my VA, my virtual assistant, to send you the details so you can come and join us. We've got lots of really enthusiastic people who have been learning some really amazing things. And I'm looking forward to doing even more to get them to take more action and get even better results in real life, following those rules that we were talking about today. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let you go and enjoy Australia Day if you're in Australia. I'm going to let you enjoy whatever day it is if you are somewhere else. Maybe even if it's Australia Day, see if you could still do something towards your goals today so that you do a small task to get closer to your goals. Have an absolutely amazing day, and I will see you all again for another reading tomorrow morning, Sydney time, 8 a.m., and we'll continue with a little bit more Rich Dad, Poor Dad.